Welcome back, everybody, to a very special edition of the Comic Relief Podcast. I am your host, or one of your hosts today. We got the triad today, Maiko Moreno, and with me, as always, is Thomas Logue. And I'm not sure, have we done the triad podcast before with three of us? I think we have.
I think we have.
Amy Logue. Welcome, you guys. How you doing today?
What's up?
We're having family time. We're having a good time.
Fun family time. FFT. Remember that, everyone.
FFT.
Yes, the funnest of familiest times.
Yes.
So yeah, we're recording this on Thanksgiving weekend, and as a disclaimer, I mean, yeah, we're gonna be talking about some spoilers today, some Mandalorian spoilers. We've agreed, the three of us have agreed to hold off on watching the 5th episode of the 2nd season. So we'll be speaking about the Mandalorian up until about the 4th episode. And oh man, I can't wait. It's been a while since we've done this. How have you guys been?
We've been good, or I've been good. I don't know. Amy, how have you been?
I mean, I went down a rabbit hole. So
that's actually kind of funny because not funny, but
hilarious.
The last time we did the podcast, it was about the Mandalorian. It was me and Maiko covering season 1, and we started it off with Maiko talking about what he had just gone through.
Holy cow, that was pre-COVID, wasn't it?
That was pre-COVID.
Oh my God, it's been a while.
It has been a long.
So much has happened.
Yeah.
We have a new president.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of a global pandemic. A lot of health issues. Same old, I guess.
Same old.
So what's been going on with you guys? What rabbit hole are we speaking of here?
Yeah, Amy.
Oh, well, yeah. So I mean, a very short version of it because there's a lot of detail to it. But basically had a seizure
at the end of June.
And then went through a ton of tests, had a biopsy. There was no physical tumor, but there were abnormal cells. So had to do some proton radiation. Just finished that up last week. Had another PET scan and another MRI. And waiting for the results of that. If I still have abnormal cells, I'll have to do one more round. Tentatively going back to work middle of January. It's funny because it feels like it's been awfully long between getting information about my health and what's been going on, but it has gone kind of fast too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like the whole time we were going through this, we were like, oh my gosh, 2021's got to be better. But I mean, to kind of think about the fact that we might be rolling into 2021 still dealing with some of these problems and the pandemic. I mean, it doesn't feel like anything's really getting, you know, I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer, but like, you know, like, you know how like we all kind of said at one time, like in July, like it's going to be better in 6 months. And it feels like it's kind of been at a standstill.
I don't want to get political at all or anything. I'm just going to say it's going to get better. And you know what? We're still here. We're still around to do podcasts. And I know that when you go, you know, having experienced something similar to what you're going through, it affects a lot of people around you. You don't know how many people are affected until, you know, how many people you affect until you go through something like this. So just want to tell you guys that I love you guys. It's gonna get better, right? And I know, Amy, you're going through this firsthand, but Tom, you got front row seats to it. And you know, like my kids, my family, my mom, my sister, like they all had front row seats to it. And it's not an easy thing, but it does get better, and it will get better. And I love you guys, and I'm glad we're still here, all doing this podcast and about to talk about some dumb stuff because that's what we do.
Well, I've come to the conclusion that I think I'm radioactive because whoever hangs out with me, something goes wrong. So I'm
so
the epicenter.
You're the super villain in this. Because I'm still sitting around.
I am.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, Amy, obviously you're going to get superpowers, right? You're going through the
Well, yeah,
radiation
because I
and the
keep on getting
proton.
radioactive
Yeah.
serum when I have to get the PET scans, and then
Yeah.
I have the proton therapy.
Yeah, so you're going to keep us up to date on your superpowers when they manifest.
Right now,
Nice.
my superpowers are Uber Eatsing things that are too close to me, and
putting up with me.
Putting up with you, and
That is...
at least for the last 24 hours, complaining that it's cold and dry here. Tom doesn't know this, but Micah and I were thinking we should change the podcast to Two Tumors and Tom.
Two Tumors and Tom. And then we were just making Two Broke Girls. That was another one also up there.
Well,
2.5 Men. That's a good one too.
Well, these are all the shows that we talked about that we don't know who watches on CBS.
Exactly.
Okay, so then Mando.
Oh man, I think we did a pretty decent job covering the first season, right?
Yes.
To be honest with you, I basically listened to the first season because of my poor vision and stuff. But since then, I've gotten these cool iris vision goggles, so I've gone back and I rewatched Mando. And for the record, by the way, sir, I would like to say that I went back and I watched all of the Star Wars movies, episode 1 to episode 9.
Okay.
We can talk about that too, because I have my opinions on the new sequels. And I've gone back and I've watched Rebels and I've watched Clone Wars, and I think there is so much hope, and Star Wars has such a bright future because of a gentleman by the name of Dave Filoni. And we can get into that. Before we do, let's do a quick wrap-up of the first season. What do you say?
All right.
Just a quick off the cuff. Now, as a quick disclaimer, we did not, or I didn't anyways, I don't want to speak for you guys, I didn't really prep too much for this episode. I felt like this was going to be a little loosey-goosey. Just, some friends in a fireside chat. You guys are up there in a snowy Big Bear, soaking up the season's greetings and stuff, and I'm just, where do we even start?
In the first season, they got rid of the best character.
IG-11.
IG-11.
Agreed. And Cara Dune stepped up to take the mantle.
Yes.
First season, the Mandalorians are underground, right? As far as we know, anyways. As far as we know at this point, they're sort of an underground group of warriors, right? The Mandalorians that we know and love.
Mercenaries.
Yep, they don't take off their helmet. We're learning a lot about these guys. They don't take off their helmets. They live by a creed, and they're almost like zealots a little bit. They're very uptight about their ways, their creed. Mando gets sent off by the remnants of the Empire and Moff Gideon, right?
Yeah.
And obviously we all know that it's the child is the target. He gets a child, and now we got Baby Yoda. So Baby Yoda is the focus of the show at this point, and the focus of Mando. Mando kind of sees this kid. He has a bit of a soft spot for the child, right? And obviously, I think it's because he himself was a foundling with the Mandalorians, right? Yeah. They found him, they took him in, and they basically brought him into this world, right? They took him up off the battlefield. So I think there's a little bit of that theme there, the stranded child, that whole thing. And I think that might be why he has such a soft spot, because otherwise, I mean, Mando's a great character, right? He's not necessarily a good guy or a bad guy, but something about the child really struck a chord with him. What do you guys think about that?
I was going to say I agree. You see it in both good and evil characters. He has a high sense of honor.
And that's something that's, I think, very prevalent with the Mandalorian culture, right?
Yep.
I mean, we don't know too many other Mandalorians aside from Jango, Boba, Sabine. I'm not sure. Have you watched the Clone Wars cartoons?
No, I'm currently going through Rebels. I just got to the part where I'm halfway through season 2. So, Vader's coming to do it, and
that's when it starts getting good. Hang in there. You will not regret it. You will love it.
I've liked it so far.
So, I'm sorry, Amy, you wanted to add something?
Oh, no, I was just, from kind of like a different perspective, because obviously I do like Star Wars, but I'm not into the lore as much as you guys are. I've had to add the lore into my life. A, because I'm married to Tom,
Yes.
but B,
Aren't we all?
I know, but and B, from my former job in licensing. But it does come across to me in a different way, is that you come to really like the character, the Mando, and it says a lot for the directing and the acting and the writing of the show, because I would think it's very difficult to get people to really have, sympathy and feel this character without having facial expressions.
This episode is going to be the tangent podcast, because you have hit so many different chords and notes that I want to touch on. First of all, have you explained to what you used to do in the licensing on the previous podcast before?
No, I don't think so. I used to be a VP of sales for a company that did housewares and toys for Star Wars. Star Wars was one of their licenses. A lot of this stuff I've tried to specifically not. I mean, I know that the podcast has always been your guys' thing, but Tom and I specifically don't talk about a lot of it. Literally, Disney would invite us, and we would have a week-long forum of just all the new movies coming out, whether it's a Marvel movie, a Disney movie, a princess movie or whatever. I basically saw Guardians of the Galaxy 6 months before it came out. So, I mean, it's
humble brag, sorry. Bye.
But so that's what I did before. So, right now, it's Christmas time. And if you notice, when you're out there, there's a ton of the child stuff now. But when The Mandalorian was supposed to come out, Jon Favreau was so anal retentive about not letting anybody know anything about the child. So something
God bless him.
Something like BB-8, if we go back to, this is a tangent, but if you go back to those movies, like The Force Awakens, when BB-8 came out, we all knew, everybody in our licensing industry knew about BB-8 a year before you even saw the movie or BB-8 was on the shelf. And they basically had sold in programs to all the stores, and we were creating BB-8 toys and BB-8 mugs and BB-8 tumblers, because they were putting all their money into BB-8 because he was a cute character. And it was like that Sphero, Bob Iger was at the story was Bob Iger was at one of his kids' birthday parties, and someone had the Sphero, just the regular Sphero, just the ball that rolls. He knew that BB-8 was going to come out, and he knew that those two together would sell ridiculous amounts of money, right? It was one of the only times that Disney approached a company like Sphero, which was at the time a very small company. I mean, they were only doing these balls that were rolling and you can control with your phone, but nothing to the extent of licensing, and came up with that item and was completely sold out that Christmas. And I think a lot of the big box toy places didn't really want to go all in on it, and the one company that did go all in on it was Bed Bath & Beyond, which is so random, but the buyer
it's the Beyond part that's the most what's even there.
Yeah, they ended up completely selling out that year. But anyway, Jon Favreau, he didn't let any licensor or the licensing team know about the child. So that's why when The Mandalorian came out, it was so difficult to get anything with the child on it, and Etsy was going crazy because people were knitting things or doing things like that, because there were no toys that Christmas that had the child.
So the reason I brought up your connections to the licensing world was because you mentioned perspective. You had a different perspective on all these movies, whereas Tom and I and fanboys like us, we have a certain perspective where we're just why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? Why was Rogue One mishandled, but it was so critically acclaimed, but they didn't do anything with it? And Amy at one point brought up the point that she's they killed all the characters. You can't do anything like that. And it's
Yeah,
like,
there's no value that's going to come out of it.
Yeah, and
That's right.
no one's gonna go out that Christmas and buy a Rogue One stuffed animal or Rogue One toy for their kid.
yeah, like, or a K250 or something like that, or the droids.
And I think after BB-8 came out, I think Star Wars Disney tried to replicate him over and over, and it was really hard sometimes going to these meetings and with buyers too, buyers basically telling us, like, we get it, we know you guys want another BB-8. He goes, and that was like what they tried really hard to do with the Porg.
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm.
But a lot of buyers kept on coming back and saying, no, this is what sells. Chewbacca, R2-D2, Chewbacca, R2-D2, and that's basically it. Those two human characters don't sell that well, no matter what. You can't make a plush out of a human character. The only time they do really well is in action figure form, right? And that's all Mattel.
Nobody wanted the Jar Jar plush.
Nobody wanted the Jar Jar plush.
Still?
They basically the Jar Jar plush, the Jar Jar toys ended up a lot of times what they do when stuff like that doesn't sell well is licensors try to clear them out. They ended up having to send a lot of them overseas or and have like international licensors try to get rid of them, but a lot of them were just like that video game the one
E.T.
Yeah,
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, a lot of them were destroyed because it was easier to destroy them.
It's like when you have in professional sports in the U.S., I don't know if this is the same in the rest of the world, but they actually make, for like a championship game like the Super Bowl or World Series, companies make both teams championship gear, right? Because they don't know who's going to, they have to. And then the losing team, it just gets shipped off overseas, and they're just wearing, like Charger Super Bowl champions and Jar Jar Binks plushies everywhere.
And then they're using for pillows.
That is the best timeline. in the darkest timeline, I suppose.
But with Mando, I mean, there are characters that are going to stand out, but obviously they're all in on the child because they lost like hundreds of millions. I mean, basically, Jon Favreau had Disney and the licensing team lose hundreds of millions of dollars without having a product that Christmas. Short term,
because they created a demand.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking for the plushie. Everyone has the stickers. Everyone has the decals. Everyone's rocking the shirts. It's Baby Yoda's the hot guy.
But there is a hot chocolate company. Did you hear about this? It's like a ball. It's like a Baby Yoda, like the little ball that he's in. The egg. Yeah. And then you drop it into your hot chocolate, and then it melts, and then the marshmallow is Baby Yoda.
Dude, whoever came up with that needs a promotion immediately. They are now the CEO of that company. That's it.
I know.
And if you would have told me that the Mandalorian, right, was going to be the next, or the next hot toy / plushie / cute stuffed animal was going to come out of the Mandalorian show, I wouldn't believe you. There's no way. Think of all these shows that have come out. The Mandalorian has the hot toy item of the last 2 years. Congratulations, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. You guys did it.
Especially after all the grief that Star Wars has gotten after the last trilogy.
It is beautiful to see that. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Tom. Yep.
Because there's a lot of people that watch The Mandalorian that probably would have never gone into the theater to go see any of the Star Wars movies.
That is a common thing, and that's something I said on the last podcast. Was if this was something, if you were to show someone that doesn't like Star Wars or didn't care for Star Wars, one thing, right? One movie, one show, one whatever, it would be The Mandalorian. Because you could have no stock in Star Wars whatsoever. You could not care about them, but it is still a good quality show with great characters and just great story writing.
What I think's interesting, and this will dip a little bit into season 2, is in season 1, the child was very cute. It was a baby. Yay. Everyone really loved the child. And you see him, eat a frog, but whatever.
Yes.
But in season 2, I feel like they took a risk when they had him eating the eggs.
Dude, I was so upset at him that episode.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was really easy to be like, what are you doing? You got to stop.
You guys are dog lovers. You guys are dog owners. You're a dog family. You know when your dog eats something and you're like, what's in your mouth? spit it out.
Yeah.
What is it? And he's like just grabbing it and like trying to get it out. Yeah. That was me yelling at the TV screen. And I kid you not, I did it every time after the first time he did it. And I was like, dude, stop it.
Yeah, that's
so good.
I thought that was kind of risky because that could put this, this big toy in a bad light. That it's eating what would be live eggs. It's not
the
like
lineage,
chicken eggs.
Yeah.
And the lineage. But at the same time, I never felt a hate for the guy. I never felt a hate for the child. I was just like, dude, you dumb kid, stop it. You little puppy. Like, I wanted to hit him on the head. Spit it out. No.
But then weren't you kind of like Tom and I looked at each other. I'm like, oh yes, but go drop him off and make them take care of the child.
Yes. That's a negligent pet owner right there. Like, no, you don't do that. You don't let the fox into the hen house like that and then put him in charge. No.
But I think they kind of redeemed themselves the next episode when he is yelling because they're flying and then he pukes on himself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he puked up the macaroons that he was stealing.
Yeah,
the blue macaroons.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome. He's not paying attention to class at all. He's like, "What do you got? What's that? That looks delicious." And the kid's like,
"Why is the child so obsessed with eating?"
He's a hungry
boy.
Yeah. That's why you can't get mad at him. Is because the little boy's hungry. And his dad, he's got a single dad. Everybody along the way has tried to either kidnap this kid or kill Mando, and he just keeps trusting people. He's like, okay. He's like, I got to go on a mission. And they're like, can you watch this kid? And they're like, okay. And he's like, you're not going to try to kill him, are you? And they're like, probably. And he's like, okay, I'll be back.
If you do, I'll come back for you. It's fine.
Yeah, it's also kind of weird, too, that, you're like, when he gets to the city, and he's like, I can't leave the child by himself. And he goes, no, he'll be fine here in this rando school with people that don't even know him, who he doesn't look like at all.
That's a single dad. He did that in the village in season 1, too.
Yeah, and by the way, no one told the teacher.
Oh, the teacher's a protocol droid. You figure it out. That's the thing, too, though, is I trust... obviously, they're not... I mean, maybe they might kill Mando or the kid. I don't know where the show's going, right? Like, they could take a risk. But I feel like Mando, no matter what situation he's in, he's just capable of getting himself out. He's just that good.
He got ate by a Kyrate dragon or whatever.
A crate?
Crate, yeah.
Is this the new one? Is this the new thing?
Oh, yeah. The mispronounce of the name, yeah.
Yeah, the crate dragon.
Crate dragon, Kyrate dragon, whatever it was called. The big thing in the dirt.
Yeah, the big dragon in the dirt. That is such a good episode. By the way, just on the side note, I love the side quests. Everybody's comparing Mando to an RPG.
Oh, yeah.
Where just along the way, he's just completing a bunch of side quests. Those are my favorite episodes. I don't care what anybody says. Any sort of uproar people get on the internet about like, oh, this episode is XYZ, it's not good because of... I'm like, no, they're nailing it. Side quests galore, please. Like, let's not move the story along just yet. Let's go 6 seasons.
I like what they've done with some of the stuff that we know in Star Wars too. Like we knew Tusken Raiders to be awful, horrible things.
Oh yeah.
But then he's in there kicking back with them doing sign language.
Yeah, doing sign language.
Who got the short stick there that had to bring up the food?
To the crate driver.
Yeah, right. I kept thinking that too. Like the dude that gives the what's it called? The sacrificial food. And he tries to run away, but that thing's huge.
Yeah. The bantha.
Yeah, the bantha, exactly. The Jawas too. I love how they're touching on all these supporting characters and just nailing it, man. I used to be so indifferent about Jawas and Tusken Raiders. I didn't care about them. And now I'm like, I think I'm a fan of Jawas. They're really cool. When's the Ewok episode? Let's go. Because I hate those guys.
It's coming. It's
going to come. Either that or the Gungans.
Wow.
Give me one of the two.
Can we talk about the best guest star appearance in season 2?
Oh, gosh.
I already know which one it is. I know exactly which one it is. You want me to guess it, or do you want to say it?
Go for it. Guess it.
Oh, Star 5.
Yes. I
I'm telling you.
screamed like a girl.
Tom screamed like he was a junior high girl that saw BTS.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
on TV. He was like, woo! He actually made that noise. And I was like, what?
I was so stoked because it's the same R5 unit because it has the scarring on the back of the engine where he blew his motivator.
Oh, it's already confirmed. It's in the right. It's in the right town. It's in Mos Espa.
Yep.
It's been confirmed. I think the writers have already confirmed that. Yeah, that is the right. Same one.
Oh, you can tell because it has the same scorch mark from when he blew his motivator.
Exactly. Thank you.
It was so good, and she's like, "You just can't get good help."
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. And she's like,
dude,
I don't even know who to talk to.
Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and the Disney Plus LucasArts people, everybody that's involved in this show is just holding a clinic on how to do fan service.
Yep.
This is it. Not in your face about it. Nothing stupid, and it all makes pretty good sense. It's probable. Sure. Same town, same everything. This isn't the like a whole different planet where it's just random characters are showing up. This is the right place, the right time. Everything is perfect. It all adds up. I love it.
And aren't those repair droids that she has, the ones that keep working on Mando's ship, aren't they from like episode 1 or whatever?
Yeah, they're the ones from the pod racing droids, the pit droids.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool that they're tying like everything together.
That's something that I think the person that I'm talking about is Dave Filoni, right? He was the writer on Clone Wars, Rebels. He's doing this, and what he did with Clone Wars, which I used to despise the prequels. I didn't just not like them. I actually despise, even when I went back and rewatched the prequels. It upset me, right? Because I have such high expectations, and I see Star Wars in such like a positive light.
Right.
That when I saw the poor acting, the poor directing, the green screen after green screen after green screen, I was like, man, did Lucas lose it or whatever? You know what I mean? But this gentleman named Dave Filoni, who is just he's in the animation world. That's where he started. He started in Nickelodeon animation. He worked on like Avatar: The Last Airbender. He worked on a few other things. And he actually had a meeting with George Lucas, and him and George talked, and George liked him. Got hired on at Lucas Animation, which didn't exist when he got hired on, so he thought it was a joke. And I'm getting this from the if you go on Disney Plus, there's a documentary series on Mandolorian, right? They interview the directors, the writers, everybody, and it's really cool. And he talks about this. He got in a meeting with George Lucas, and Lucas basically spoke the entire meeting. George Lucas saw in this dude what a lot of people are sort of lacking. This dude has a love for Star Wars that I've never seen anybody have. He has a deep understanding. He has an explanation of the Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Obi-Wan fight that just, I won't say it brings you to tears, but it gives it so much depth. And Dave Filoni understood it. So now he's writing Clone Wars, and he has actually redeemed in the Clone Wars by giving it all this backstory to what has happened in the prequels. Dude, you're going to get to a part in, I'm not sure if it's Clone Wars or Rebels, where Darth Maul meets back up with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's probably Clone Wars.
It's probably Clone Wars. Okay. Once you get to that point, let me know.
Okay.
Beautiful. The Darth Maul story, I was totally against it. I remember the spider legs and all that. I hated the idea of it. Dave Filoni does it so much justice. Dave Filoni is now doing for the sequels, right? He's tying in the whole cloning and all this other stuff that just was not explained in the sequel movies in episode, 7, 8, 9?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I am extremely excited about it. He made the Clone Wars watchable again, and he's doing the same thing to the sequels. And he's just now touching on it a little bit. Another thing that the show does very well is now that they're under the same umbrella with Marvel, right? So it's not just Dave Filoni by himself. It's Jon Favreau. It's Dave Filoni. It's Taika Waititi. It's everybody. It's I'm sorry, I forget the director of Batman, but he just recently directed one of the episodes, right? They're letting some of the actors direct the episodes now too, which I think is great. They're bringing ships, characters, and creatures from the the Clone Wars and Rebels and the movies and the video games and the novels. They're tying it all in. But the voice actress and actress that played Bo-Katan, and Bo-Katan, by the way, is the female Mandalorian, right? That had the two other Mandalorians with her. She is the actress from Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
Yeah. I forget her name, and I'm screwing up.
Katie something.
Sackhoff? No, Sackhoff?
I think you're right.
Yeah, I
it's
think
like
so.
Sakanoff or whatever.
Yeah.
She played Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica.
Yes. So she did the voice acting in, I'm going to say Clone Wars again. I might be wrong, but I think it is Clone Wars. And they modeled they modeled it after her a little bit, the character after her. And she ends up playing the character in a live action, which is like, dude, high five.
Yeah, that was
you guys are killing it. Oh, so can we get into that? What is your take? What is your guys' take on Mando meeting the other Mandalorians in that last? I think it was episode 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, episode 3, where his ship was busted on the water planet.
How they basically said that is it the clan that he belongs to, or they're like not real Mandalorians, but they're like, didn't they kind of actually make it seem like they were like a cult? Or
yes, that is exactly it. The watch, yeah.
Because it was surprising when they took off their helmets. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right, and I love how they set it up too with the Marshal in episode 2, where he takes off his helmet and he's like, "Well, you can't be Mandalorian. Where'd you get that armor?" But you're right. I loved that they sort of addressed it as like they almost felt bad or sorry for him. Where they were like, "Oh, this guy's a Branch Davidian. This dude is a cultist." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Oh, my poor child, you're homeschooled." Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, you crazy Scientologist.
Oh, you. Oh.
Yeah, it is interesting. And it's interesting for me to watch it, too, because I really do like it. And it's, like I said, like I knew stuff about lore, but, when I was in licensing, it wasn't like there was a deep dive into things. I mean, no one was really like, "Oh, I really want the Rebels license," or whatever. I mean, they sometimes begrudgingly had to take the Rebels license in order to get the Star Wars license. That's another, like, tangent secret fact of how much money Disney makes, is all the different segments in Star Wars. So if it's a classic movie, if it's a prequel movie, if it's the new movies coming out, if it's Rogue One, if it's Han Solo, they all have a different percentage that you have to pay for the licensing fee.
Oh, interesting.
And they're all
really?
And they all get rolled into one big contract. So basically, for instance, if you wanted to do The Force Awakens, sometimes when you're negotiating your contract, they're like, "Okay, well, you're going to be the master plush licensee." It's not like they don't split it up, because they split it up amongst different companies, but you'll do the master plush, but you also have to take these other licenses too, which means you have to make a marker. So like you say, for The Force Awakens, that we're going to sell at least $500,000 worth of plush, right? Mm-hmm. So then you get a percentage of that. But the thing is, you have to sell up to that amount. If you don't sell whatever percentage you're told, like $400,000, $500,000, you're guaranteeing it. Even if you don't sell it, like if you can't get it placed at Walmart or Target or wherever, your company still has to pay that.
You still owe that money.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see those shows, if they take a turn in their merch because of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm not a betting man. I would say they're not going to, because there's such a deep cut, and it's really hard to sell someone on like 6 to 7 seasons. It just sucks, because I think the cartoons itself, Rebels and Clone Wars, were sort of marketed towards children.
Yes.
Even though they had very good writers, right? So again, Dave Filoni, he sort of took the opportunity to write some really deep character arcs and deep story on a children's cartoon. And I think it kind of flew under the radar a little bit. Hopefully, I would hope that the Mandalorian does bring people over to at least Clone Wars or Rebels, because there's a lot there. There's a lot of great story, a lot of great filling in of the blanks, that was missed, that you just can't tell. And again, no real fault of George Lucas or anything. It's just you can't tell. You can't pack this much story into a 2-hour movie, even if you are doing a trilogy. You just can't. What you can do in hours and hours and hours of a serial show you just can't do in 2 hours of a movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, for that same reason too, like, I'm excited for what Marvel's going to do on Disney Plus now. Disney is essentially giving LucasArts and Marvel just the green light to do what you want. I don't know if you guys heard this, but Disney also just greenlit Deadpool to be rated R.
So you got to hold on to love tight and never let go. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Got it?
Yeah.
Or else the whole world tastes like Mama June after hot yoga.
Sir, what does Miss Mama June taste like?
Like two hobos in a shoe filled with piss.
enough.
I can go all day, Dopinder. The point is, it's bad.
Anything but other than R would not go well with Deadpool.
It wouldn't. It doesn't fit. Not to change the subject too much, but yeah, I do hope The Mandalorian does bring people to Rebels and Clone Wars more.
I think the important thing that they do with Mandalorian, though, is even if you don't watch Rebels, if you don't watch Clone Wars, if you don't really know too much about Star Wars, you can still enjoy Mandalorian for what it is. Like when, what's his name, came out of the TIE fighter with the dark saber.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, dark saber, what does that mean? You don't have to know the history that's shown in Clone Wars and Rebels. You can just enjoy it for what it is and be like, oh, dude, he has like a weird lightsaber.
I hadn't seen, I think I just started Rebels or Clone Wars at that point. And having gone through it, it's just beautiful how you don't need any of the backstory to appreciate and enjoy it. But once you know the backstory behind all these things, it's like, oh my God, right? And we've definitely experienced that with the Marvel movie, right? Seeing all the Easter eggs and all the name drops and all the things in all these Marvel movies has been like, you'll get the one or two woots in the movie theater, and it's like, okay, those are my boys that read comics there. And it's like, you don't need it to appreciate it. You can still enjoy them.
Yeah.
But to know all that, it's just amazing.
I agree. I mean, to everyone else, except for me probably, that scene with R5 was like, whatever. It's just a robot. It's just a different R2-D2 type droid. But for me, I was like, it's R5! Oh my God!
I got excited to see him because I knew you would get excited. For the same reason, too, that when IG-11 came out, I was like, Tom's going to like this one. Yep. I know it. It's not 88, right? But it's close enough. Even to a lesser extent, too, the episode where the X-Wings come out. That was good. That was gratifying.
Yep.
I'm talking about Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni actually is one of those pilots in that scene. In the last episode with a pilot that's talking to Cara Dune, trying to get her to join the New Republic, that's the third showing of that pilot, that same pilot. So
yeah, which means he gets around because he was on an ice planet, then he went to a desert planet.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he's like the Highway Patrol. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the 5th episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, this is a big deal. People texting me, asking me if I've watched it, and I have to tell them, like, shut up. And everyone's like, oh, man, you got to watch it. And I'm like, shut up.
You're like, yeah,
I know. Watch it anyways.
You don't have to emphasize anyways.
You don't have to convince me.
You're like, I'm very busy Amazoning now and eating my charcuterie board.
Yeah. I got cheese and meat. You guys don't understand. And olives, too. Back to the original combo.
What was that again?
Mando's got the kid. Mando sides with the child. He decides to protect him. The Mandalorian, now that we know that we've explained that this is his cult, this isn't all the Mandalorians out there. This is just one faction, one what did you call it, Amy?
Cult?
One division.
Yeah, one division. Because when we see them come out of in the first season, when we see him come out of the hiding, which is one of my favorite episodes, one out of their hidey hole, you're like, oh man, the Mandalorians are back out into the world. And no, they have been, right? They have been. So at the end of the first season, we see that Mando sort of has taken on the child as a foundling himself. To me, that's very, very interesting, right? Because now is the child going to become a Mandalorian? Are we going to see him at some point rock the armor?
The woman who made his insignia of the mud whatever.
So
Mudhorn. She had said that it's Mando's duty to take Baby Yoda
back to his
people. Yeah.
The wizards.
Yeah.
So then could he be a triple threat? Could he be obviously whatever species Yoda is, and a Jedi, and a Mandalorian. Could he be the next Mandalorian? That's why I worry about Mando's survival. Like, will the show kill him and continue on with the child as the Mandalorian?
I mean, it could. And, we've already seen someone that you've mentioned a few times, Mr. Fett, show up.
Ooh, which was really, really cool. Yeah. I like that.
And
and that was part of the whole thing with that. Well, Boba's not wearing a helmet, right? Is he a true Mandalorian? Well, yeah, sure, why not?
Well, he's not even wearing anything except for like skivvies and some armor.
He's like me, quarantine me.
Yeah. What I thought was really cool is that it's the same dude, Jango. And then did you know that he voices Boba Fett in the 2004 version of Empire Strikes Back?
Does he really?
Yeah.
I did not know. So there's a lot of talk as to whether Boba and even Jango are true Mandalorians, right? Because were they ever really adopted into a clan? Are they, right? And if they value their armor so much and their weapons and everything so much, right? Like, how did he lose his armor? Did he give it up? Did it get stolen? Did he get defeated? Did he get bested? Right?
Well,
why did Jawas have it?
Well, no. Keep in mind, you remember the last thing that happened to Boba Fett is he fell in the Sarlacc pit. I'm assuming he climbed out, probably passed out. Jawas found him, stripped him of his armor, took it, and just pawned it off.
Oh, God, I hope they tell us. I hope they let us know.
I mean, I assume that's what they're alluding to when they had the marshal say he bought it from the Jawas.
Because they're just scavengers, right? They're not going to knowingly, or willingly attack or anybody. They'll loot you, though. Yeah. They'll loot a corpse, for sure.
That's why it was not all of Boba Fett's armor. It was like pieces of it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he had the chest piece, the helmet, part of the arm piece for the flamethrower. But it wasn't his full armor, because I imagine some of that was probably damaged in the Sarlacc pit.
I honestly don't think there's a bad episode.
In Mando, no, there's not.
No. Mm-mm.
That's pretty incredible when you think there was already been 8 episodes from season 1. And then we've watched the first 4 of season 2. So you're looking at 12 episodes so far. And not a bad one at all.
Disney Plus is also doing a few other shows, right? Which I was not excited about pre-Mandalorian, right? They're doing, I believe, an Obi-Wan show. And I believe they're in talks to do a young Luke Skywalker.
Personally, I would rather see a Qui-Gon prequel than a Ben Kenobi prequel. Because, I feel like they did a good job of when Ben Kenobi dies, that you care. But Qui-Gon, they did a good job of, oh, here's a cool character. He gets cut down really early into episode 1, and you're like, oh, whatever.
That's the thing that really bugged me out about the prequel and the sequel movies, because they did the same thing with Maul. They did the same thing with Snoke. They just dismissed these characters that had so much potential.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon was definitely that dude. He was a rock star. He was going against the Jedi Council. He was a rogue.
I think what's interesting, though, is, I can't remember if I've mentioned it before, but one of the things that the prequels for me did was ruined Vader's redemption in Return.
Yeah. Yep.
As soon as you see him killing kids, then you think about his redemption at the end. You're like, no, you die. Why do you get to come back as a good Jedi spirit? You murdered children, dude. Blowing up a planet. All right, whatever. That's kind of impersonal. You're doing it from space. I get it. But when you're physically stabbing children, you're in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're watching the children die versus just blowing up a planet from space.
Why the children?
Yeah, why the children? Because it's like when you have the villain in what's that not Kiefer Sutherland, oh my god, Keanu Reeves movie where they kill the dog.
Point Break?
No, where they kill the dog.
Oh yeah. John Wick.
John Wick, yeah. If you want to show someone's truly evil, you kill something that's defenseless. Like a dog or a child. That's how you know they're evil.
I get what they were trying to do. Right, they were trying to show that Anakin has truly fallen to the dark side, but it's just they don't execute it very well.
No.
Oh man, let's talk about the sequels, because I don't think we've talked about it. The last time we talked, I hadn't seen them yet. We hadn't seen episode 9 yet. I hadn't seen episode 9 yet, and I think we left off that you and Amy were going to watch it. What did you think of episode 9?
God, I barely remember it.
Yeah, I hardly remember it.
Exactly.
Well, it's been a while, and I don't own it on Blu-ray or anything like that. Overall, I actually didn't mind it too much. There's literally only one scene that sticks in my head that I hated. And that's when the Emperor gets all that power and then short circuits all the ships, all the good ships flying in space, thousands of miles above him.
Yeah, he's like a shower of lightning.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I can remember that really stuck out. Well, that and the kiss.
All the fake outs were stupid. Chewbacca's fake out death, C-3PO's fake out wipe, Rey's fake out death. Like, nothing had meaning in that movie, dude. You know what's really funny too is I know I hadn't seen it, like it was like a year or two after the movie had been in theaters, but I knew that Palpatine had came back for this movie, right? But I wanted to see how they did it. I was like, no spoilers. I want to experience the moment when they find out that Palpatine is back, right? I'm like, this is gonna be good. And it's at the beginning of the title scroll. It says, Emperor Palpatine is back.
Yeah.
What? What the heck? That's it?
Well, a lot of times, even in the original trilogy, like between Star Wars Empire and Return, they do talk about time has passed.
Yeah.
Like, you end Empire with, Han is gone, whatever, and they're just watching Lando fly away or whatever. And then we start Return, and Lando has infiltrated the Hutts. Leia is now like this fake bounty hunter. They've sent off R2, and C-3PO. Luke's got this crazy other idea. So, they do have time pass in between even the original trilogies. And like, Han even makes a reference to, in Empire, I'm going to leave because after we ran into that bounty hunter in whatever, Ord Mandel. And then the captain says, well, price is a hard thing to live with or whatever. So there's definitely time that passes even between the movies.
But at least these are characters that we're like, okay, these characters are off on adventures. Palpatine has been dead for a long time.
I honestly am struggling to remember episode 9. So Rey had a fake death.
Yeah. She was brought back by Kylo's love, which apparently they were in love.
Because wasn't there a time we thought that they were brother and sister, right?
They might have been related, which again, that would have been a callback, right?
Luke and Leia, so it's not too unusual in the Star Wars universe.
I would say Luke and Leia had more of a relationship tension than Kylo and Rey. Yeah, she got brought back by a kiss, and then after he brings her back, right? Because all of a sudden, Force revive is a thing, and then he just faints and dies immediately.
Well, they were FaceTiming each other.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and what's going on now with the Force that you can just like transfer items through the Force? Like, what's up with that? Yeah. You can just give someone a lightsaber through the Force, like through FaceTime?
It's a digi-gift.
Yeah, it's a digi-gift.
And then we thought Chewbacca was dead, but he wasn't.
He was in the other ship. Oh, good. And it was actually a pretty cool scene where Rey throws lightning, and you're like, oh, this is good. She accidentally killed Chewbacca. That's cool. And it turns out that, no, he wasn't even on that ship. Oh,
I remember watching the movie, and when Kylo didn't have his shirt, I'm like, what? Why?
Dude, have you seen the preview for the Star Wars Holiday Special?
No.
The Lego one?
No.
It's on Disney
You have
Plus.
to send it to me.
Basically, Rey goes back in time.
Cool! We've seen my master. My master's master.
Concentrate.
My master's father.
Impressive.
My master's father's master.
Emperor Palpatine? I don't believe it!
You think maybe you could put a shirt on?
It's so good, dude. It's so good.
That was a little awkward.
I always had a problem with Kylo.
He's just, it wasn't the right actor.
I thought the actor choice, Adam Driver, was hard for me to think that Han and Leia had a baby and it was Adam Driver.
I mean, he's got nice pecs, don't get me wrong. Like that was, thank you, Adam Driver. But yeah, no, it didn't buy for me either. I'll tell you what, do you guys remember Babu Frick?
Babu who?
He is the little alien that reboots or that turns C-3PO evil.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he
the
was
little dude? Yeah, that guy.
He is the redeeming character in that whole friggin' trilogy. Babu Frick is awesome. They need his like little talking plushies. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it is weird how certain people like find certain characters. Like, Tom's one of his favorites is R5, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like obscure characters. Is my problem.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But what's his name? Oh my god, I cannot remember his name, and I know his name.
Who?
Jabba's pet.
Salacious Crumb.
Salacious Crumb. So
Yeah.
1 year for our talking plushies, Walmart wanted to do an exclusive one. And so, like, we put the normal numbers in and whatever, and the buyer was a huge Star Wars fan, right? And he's like, I want Salacious Crumb in there. And I remember we all looked at him and we're like, what? As a plushie? And he goes, I think it'll do really well. And I'm like, I don't know. Think that will do well. I'm like, because the thing about it is, like, can you imagine, like, you're having to sell, like, 2 Salacious Crumbs over 3,000 Walmart stores. That's like 6,000 people going in and buying a $10 Salacious Crumb puppy amount, Yeah. And so it's just kind of like, and we had boxes and boxes of it.
Did they not sell?
No.
Oh, I was hoping to hear like a super cool, like, dude, we couldn't keep them on the shelf.
No. Looking back now, I think that character should have been a Star Wars Celebration exclusive.
Exclusive, that's what I was going to say. You should be an exclusive.
Because the people that are going to Star Wars Celebration are Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
So they're the people that are going to drop $10 for a little talking plushie that makes that noise. The only reason why he wanted him was because it was one of his favorite characters, and he likes that noise he made.
Yeah, everybody does.
But that year we ended up doing that character. You have one. I got you one. The
blue one.
The blue.
Max Rebo
from.
Oh yeah.
From the barge.
Throw an R5 unit in there.
Yes,
I tried so hard. Every time we had meetings about new characters that we were going to do, I would be like, can we do R5? And they would tell me, you can't do this character just for your husband.
One sale.
And I'm like, it's not even going to be a sale because he's going to get it for free.
I would buy it. But, I would buy it just to support it.
But then I remember the next year, because we were always looking for like that one token rando character in there to see if it would work,
Mm-hmm.
Or an exclusive. And R5 was on the short list sometimes, but he just never made it. But
they lacked motivation.
But it was really funny. But it was really funny because they're like, "Who is this character?" And I'm like, "Don't you remember?" Because this is like kind of like in the beginning when I started working there. I don't think they realized like how much I already knew about Star Wars. And granted, the people who owned the company were not Star Wars fans. But I'm like, don't you remember in the beginning where it was that one droid and he like
bad motivator?
Motivator, and that's why R2 went, and they like literally were just staring at me. I'm like, I guess you don't.
Now clarify this for me, please, Tom. Doesn't Luke call R5 an R2 unit?
Yes, he does.
In the movie?
Yes, he does.
Uncle Owen! Yeah? This R2 unit has a bad motivator, look!
Luke's uneducated.
Luke doesn't care.
Luke doesn't. He's just whiny.
He's just a whiny farm boy. He didn't know about astromech droids.
Though we have been enjoying those Uber Eats commercials. Have you seen them?
No, they have commercials?
They have an Uber Eats commercial. It plays on Hulu, where it's Luke Skywalker and
Jean-Luc Picard.
Playing,
oh, really?
Playing at chess?
They're playing a chess game, and there's like multiple commercials, so it's not just one. So it keeps going on and on and on.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to YouTube that.
Tonight, I'll be eating a veggie cheeseburger on ciabatta. No tomatoes.
Tonight, I'll be eating 4 cheese tortellini with extra tomatoes.
Stewart, so it's come to this. Thank you.
Bravo.
Careful, Hamill. Daddy's not here to save you.
Oh, I am my daddy.
Come again?
Wait, what? You said Daddy's not here to save you?
What are you talking about?
I'm not sure I got that right. Tonight, I'll be eating roasted cauliflower tacos with spicy chipotle sauce. Thank you.
Oh! I wasn't ready!
You want cheese to go with that wine? Tonight, I'll be eating chicken tikka masala with garlic naan. Cheers.
I win again. Patrick.
That's Sir Patrick.
Ooh, sir.
I've not seen that.
Also, who's that guy that we like on HBO?
This is the way. The one that I watch?
Mm-hmm.
Jon Snow?
John Oliver.
Did you guys hear, like, you know how, like, Jimmy Kimmel, for a while, like, he picked a celebrity and he makes a feud with him, and it was Matt Damon?
Yeah.
John Oliver picked Adam Driver this year and just started
Yes.
calling him out and stuff like that. And finally, he got Adam Driver to come on and
Yes.
FaceTime him and just, like, stop it. Stop talking about me.
Yes, I did see that actually. I do recommend it. That's really funny.
Do you remember, like, this is such a weird throwback, but I remember
Hold
growing
on
up.
real quick. I just got the title of this podcast.
What?
The Randolorian.
The Randall.
Oh, dude.
Everything's
yes.
so rando.
Yes.
Anyway, carry on.
I like it.
Carry on with your idea.
Well, I was just thinking back in the day, you know, when you were growing up, like, late night TV was such a big deal because Jay Leno didn't like David Letterman, and remember there was
There's
all this,
rivalries.
like, there was a lot of rivalries. But now, like, they're all friends. Like Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and John Oliver and Trevor Noah. Like, they're all kind of like, I love Trevor Noah. This is like the Randolorian.
It is total Randolorian. I think on that note, because I'm getting a little hungry, I'm getting a little peckish. I think we should wrap this guy up.
All right, sounds good.
What do you guys say? And then you guys can enjoy the rest of your FFT out there in Big Bear.
And since it's getting dark, we'll DoorDash some Denny's.
You're right. All right, you guys. Thanks again for listening. Thank you guys for joining me for doing this. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Happy holidays. And we'll catch you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel in about 4 years from now.
Yep. And 4 years when we have a new president. Or the same president again.
Yes.
All right, cool.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Relief Podcast. You can find us at comicreliefpodcast.com, or you can go to facebook.com/Comic Relief Podcast, or you can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/Comic Relief C, or you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Comic Relief Podcast. If you enjoyed the music at the beginning of this podcast, please visit Taylor Davis's website. She did the cover of the song. You can go to her website at taylordavisviolin.com. You can visit her YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/violin-tay, Tay. Please go visit her website, visit her YouTube page, subscribe.
Bring in the loot. We have our loot delivered. A bounty for sure.
And speaking of bounties,
Oh, good segue. Still got it. Still got it.
I was saying if you go like into where the 3 dots are, and if you go to more... Oh, damn it. You have to do it from the call, though. How do I get out of this chat? So I won't even need this one back here. So we can just do it like that if you want. Like, we just take Skype out of it. Oh, I see your screen now.
I have an echo, so I'm going to disconnect from Amy's phone.
Okay.
So what up, guys?
Not much.
How's Big Bear?
I'll let Amy answer. Go ahead.
We started using an acronym. It was
FFT.
FFT.
Oh, can I guess the acronym?
Yeah.
It's going to be F as in the bad word.
Yep.
B. Hang on. FFT, traffic. Yes. Did I get it?
You got the F right. So we got to Big Bear, right?
Yes.
And Amy's mom is sipping on one of my Coke Zeros, and she's like,
"Oh!"
And she goes,
"Those are at a premium, man. There's only so many of them."
I know. And then she goes, "Family time." So, like we were.
FFT.
So we were all crabby, and I said, "F***ing family time." So it keeps getting brought up. Like we went to go get breakfast and we're just sitting there and I was like,
"Oh, well."
So we got to Big Bear, right?
Yes.
And Amy's mom is sipping on one of my Coke Zeros and she's like,
"Oh."
And she goes,
those are at a premium, man. There's only so many of them.
I know. And then she goes, "Family time." So like we were
FFT.
So we were all crabby, and I said, "Fucking family time." So it keeps getting brought up. Like we went to go get breakfast, and we're just sitting there, and I was like,
"Oh well." It's been a long, long time since we've been to Big Bear because we normally go to Mammoth, right?
Right.
So,
right.
And I don't think we prefer Big Bear as much as we prefer Mammoth, but it's like a huge, disparity in time driving, right? Because it takes 8 hours, 7.5, 8 hours to get to Mammoth, where it's like, 2.5 to get here. But anyway, so I look up a place for breakfast, and Yelp let us put, like, it's like slammed. So, like, I put our names on the list, and we're still crappy this morning a little bit, and Tom's just like, "I really want to get there early because we don't know where we're going," and like we're trying to hurry to the car or whatever because we were like fourth in line.
Rightly so. That's a good move.
Literally get in the car, and then Tom's like, "Waze says we've arrived." I'm like, "What?"
I was like, "What's the name of the place?" And she's like, "What is it?"
Grizzly Manor.
Yeah, Grizzly Manor Diner or whatever. And I put it into Waze from the parking lot in front of this cottage, and it goes, "You have arrived." And I was like, "What?"
Like we hadn't even drove yet. And then like I look over the side because when the dogs were out either yesterday or today, I'm like, "Oh, I see a Coke, like an old school Coke machine behind a building." And so I'm like, "I see a Coke machine across the street." Literally, it's 2 buildings from us.
Yeah, it's like 40 feet away.
Dude,
it's like across the street. But we were all in the car
but
like
we
half
didn't know
an
that.
hour early. Like
ready to brave the elements.
Tom's like, "We've arrived." I'm like, "What?"
Literally.
We haven't even backed up yet.
Yeah, so I was like, I thought something was wrong with Waze, so we drove, we pull out of the parking lot, make a left, and Amy goes, "I think it's that building right on the corner." And I was like, "Are you sure?" We pull up, and that's it. And I was like, "Get out of the car. I'm going to go park the car back at the cottage."
Dude, I want to say that's got to be a scene from a movie. That's the scene from a movie, isn't it?
It feels like
they get in the car, it's a big deal, and all of a sudden they just roll a little bit, and they're like, "All right, we're here.
We're here." So we get in the car, we start driving. Amy's mom falls asleep in the front seat with me, but that's fine. Then I look back and Amy falls asleep.
Ah,
so
that is.
So it's just me, which is fine. I got my music.
That is bad co-pilot etiquette.
Yeah.
By the way,
I got my music. Yeah, I feel like Mammoth, you just literally go on a straight road and it's just
one straight. No, it's a winding
road. It's
a
gradual incline.
Yeah.
Whereas Big Bear, it's literally like turn.
Yeah. Yep. It's a beautiful drive though. It's really nice.
Well, at night,
it's a really great drive to sleep through.
Yeah, exactly. So we get here, and I was like, I'm done driving. Like, I am done driving. Like, there were so many
we got
turns,
here like at
whatever.
5.
And then so Amy's like, well, what are we going to do for food? And I was like, I don't know what you guys are doing for food, but I'm not hungry. So then, now go.
So I'm like, I'm just going to DoorDash some things. I look on Uber Eats, nothing's available. I look on Postmates, nothing's available. And finally, the only thing that showed up on DoorDash was Denny's, right? And so, and it was dark.
Respectable.
It was dark when we got up here, so like we didn't get to see like where we were situated in town. So the funny thing is, they delivered Denny's and it was fine. We had Denny's last night.
It took 45 minutes.
It took 45 minutes to get to us. So
Denny's is what it is. It's the ultimate expectation managed restaurant, right? You're not going to get blown away, but you're not going to be upset.
Yep.
Right.
Unless they screw it up. Which
so
it
really
took
happen. 45 minutes to get here, and while we were sitting at the Grizzly Manor, I'm like,
I love that name, by the way.
The Grizzly Manor having breakfast. It was a weird breakfast, and I kind of like thought to myself, I think Denny's is just 2 doors down from here.
No.
We DoorDashed.
Are you serious?
A block away.
Literally. We walk after breakfast, we walk back to the car and we're like, let's go get the dogs and we'll go to Big Bear Lake.
So you guys walked past Denny's?
Well, literally, we got in the car because I didn't know how far Big Bear Lake was. So we rustled the dogs into the car, jumped into the car. We make the right past Grizzly Manor, which is, like 40 feet away. And literally 2 buildings over, Denny's. And I'm like, we DoorDash this guy to go 60 feet.
And I'm like looking at the sign, looking around or whatever, and all of a sudden the sign, like it gives you like the temperature, the date, all that stuff, because it's a school sign. And then it goes, what was it, 48?
No, negative
777.
Oh, how'd you guys survive that?
Yeah, I'm all negative 7,800, whatever.
782.
Yeah.
Too many zeros in there.
Dude.
And I'm like, oh my God. And then Tom turned to look and he goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, that just said negative whatever. And then he goes, those are letters, Amy. Those aren't digits.
When I turned, it's like, welcome to like Big Bear High School or whatever. I was like, what are you talking about?
And then
those letters say FFT.
Yeah, FFT.
And then I'm like obsessed. I'm waiting for, and there's no rhyme or reason when you're watching it, like when it would come up, right? Well, then all of a sudden, 4,000.
455. You keep adding an extra zero.
I keep on, because 455 Fahrenheit comes up, and I'm like, 455 Fahrenheit. And then Tom turns around and he goes, those are letters.
It's literally the same words again, like, welcome to Big Bear High. And I'm like, what's wrong with you?
So, like, I'm obsessed with the sign. Tom's just, like, sitting in the sun. He's like, I'm getting hot. And we look over at my mom, who's just on her phone like our kid or something.
Literally,
like,
Amy's mom looks like she's playing Pokemon Go. Like, she's got her phone out, and I keep seeing her move. Like, I'm sure she's scrolling up and down, but it literally looks like she's, like, throwing Pokeballs. And I was like, I don't know what's happening at this table.
We went to Big Bear once, and we decided to do it. It was my cousin, I think it was Nick or Amy's birthday. And we were at the bar, we were drunk, me, my cousin, Anai, and Nick said, we should go snowboarding tomorrow, right? We had one of those, like, those ideas, when you're drinking and you're like, yeah, we're going to do it. Yeah. And we all high-fived and we all cheers, and then we all went home. And sure enough, man, I woke up at like 5 a.m. and I called them up and I was like, are we still going to do it? They're like, oh crap. Okay, sure. And we did it, man. We got in the Nick's truck and we all got together. We met up and we drove up and like my cousin didn't have like socks on.
That seems like a mistake.
It was a bad, because as we were driving to Big Bear, it was cold snowing.
Yeah.
And as we were driving, the thermometer on his truck kept going down. And it was like 45, 40, 35. And we're like, oh, dude, we're in trouble. So we had like sweaters and tennis shoes on. You know, we had snowboarding gear in the back of the truck, but we were not at all prepared. We immediately went for like hot chocolate and Bloody Marys, like right off the bat. Like, if we can't warm up, we're going to warm up our guts. And we had a blast. It was so much fun. I've come to the conclusion, on a side note, that I am a charcuterie board.
Well, it's because you just had one last night, right?
Love them. I'm all about them. They're like Lunchables, like bougie Lunchables for adults. The best. Who doesn't love Lunchables?
It's the only time that I like with a charcuterie board. It's the only time that I'm like, oh, like I really want some beeswax,
dude.
Or like
goat cheese and honey and dried fruit and nuts and meat and cheese is just the best.
And
I'm sorry.
And those like really expensive almonds that you only buy for a charcuterie board.
Yes. Oh yeah. And then olives too. Oh my God. Forget about it. It's everything my doctor told me to stop eating. And I'm like, but it's all on a plate. All of it. Sorry, Sophia came up a moment ago and she was like, so are we going to eat lunch today or what?
Just tell her that you're going to Uber eat some Denny's.
Right? We'll find the restaurant closest to us. Actually, we have done that. It's pretty far.
And you know what show we've been watching all day?
What's that?
The Scorpion.
Yeah, it's called The Scorpion.
What is that? Is the one with what's his name? The Rock?
No, not the Scorpion King.
Not the Scorpion King. It's a series on TV because there's not a lot of TV channels up here.
Options.
Yeah. So The Scorpion is kind of like NCIS turned up to 10.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Network TV. I forgot all about that.
And the guy that is from, like, Stifler's mom, that did Stifler's mom.
The guy who did Stifler's mom is in it. I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name either, yeah. But, the one that's like, MILF.
Yeah. The leader of the Scorpion is the bad guy from the Terminator. You know, the one that turns silver and can seep through stuff?
Oh, yeah. He's not the T-1000, is he? I think he might be the T-1000.
Yeah, T-1000. He's the leader of the group in the Scorpion.
Gotcha. So it's like a team of hackers or something?
Yeah. Well, like they're all geniuses.
Yeah, so the thing is they're all ultra geniuses.
In their fields.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so every time they go somewhere, something always goes terribly wrong, and they have to figure out how to make it work. So it's kind of like NCIS turned up to 10 with like a splash of MacGyver thrown in there.
That's scary.
Oh, and
splash of MacGruber.
And get this. So there's like a psychologist and whatever. They're all geniuses.
Yeah.
And Catherine McVie is on the team.
Beautiful.
And she doesn't...
What is she doing?
She just is the person that...
Who's Catherine McVie? I don't know.
She's the one from American Idol.
Oh, she's just one of the geniuses. So she's a psychologist.
She's like the Harley Quinn?
Yeah, she's like a psychologist. And there's a dude there who's like insanely smart. He's like the smartest of them all, but he has no understanding of emotional things. He doesn't have that connection. So she's there to try to teach him, and then they end up getting involved. So it's very much like the Joker and Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn, yeah. Where it's like, what's this girl with the bat gonna do?
Yeah.
I don't even think she's a psychologist because they met.
Is.
Oh, she is.
She is. That's the whole reason she was there.
Oh.
Is she's just like an Aspie whisperer or something?
Yeah.
She's a genius whisperer.
Genius whisperer. Ooh.
But you'll enjoy this. The show is on CBS.
Yeah, of course. Of course. You know what trips me out about these shows, about these like genius NCIS type shows, is that someone has to write this stuff. Someone has to write the dialogue. Like, if your character is a genius, you have to write that character doing genius stuff.
Yeah.
It's not enough to say they're geniuses. So that's the part that's impressive to me. That's where I would fall off. I'd be like, no, my character's a dumbass. Because I can write that. It's a straight dummy.
All right, well, I guess we can end it there on Random Scorpion show on CBS.
On that note, watch Random Scorpion on CBS Friday nights, 8 p.m.
I don't think it's on anymore.
It's not on anymore, guys. Just watch it. Find it on the CBS app. You guys ready to start? You guys ready to do this thing?
51 minutes in.
Yeah,
We're ready to start.
Because I'm already exhausted.
We're just going to be like, do you like it? Yeah, cool. All right, we'll meet next time.
Yeah. And that's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Relief Podcast. You can find us at comicreliefpodcast.com, or you can go to facebook.com/Comic Relief Podcast, or you can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/Comic Relief C, or you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Comic Relief Podcast. If you enjoyed the music at the beginning of this podcast, please visit Taylor Davis's website. She did the cover of the song. You can go to her website at taylordavisviolin.com. You can visit her YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/violin-tay, T-A-Y. Please go visit her website, visit her YouTube page, subscribe,